you get the square? Do you think that you can find it? You must be aware of the shape of a square if you really want to find it. So look with care for the shape of a square. Look all around. Can you find it?
We should never allow the government to decide what is acceptable speech and what is unacceptable speech. We should penalize behaviors, not opinions, and not speech. If you start trying to regulate speech, you start trying to regulate thoughts, you start trying to regulate beliefs rather than behaviors, there's no way that you're not going to abridge the constitutional rights of millions of Americans.
This is going to be a video about a dream that I had today. Usually my dreams mean more than just some random subconscious interpretation of something. And having had it today, I feel like I ought to try to get it on video so I can maybe sometime go back and watch this. This dream had to do with two specific things. One, more or less I was a security guard at a department store, and I'm there more or less making sure of the perimeter around the areas where there's like outside doors where people can get out, and there's this kid, and he was a kid like in his teens. He runs past me and out the door, and how he knew the door was open I don't know, but he gets outside. I go after him, and anyway he's gone after I leave the outside of the building. He's nowhere. So then the next thing in this dream is I'm at the house, a house, not my own home, and there's this guy that shows up, and this is primarily the part of the dream that's kind of bizarre. He comes into the house and says, we know each other, and he says, I was here earlier today, I lost or left something here at the house, but then at the same time he says, hey, the place looks really good, did you do all this? In other words, did you fix it up yourself? And so he goes over to one of the pieces of furniture, and there's some stuff on the top of it, and he grabs something, and then it turns out it's a pocket knife. So he takes it in his hand, and he flips it closed because apparently it was left open. So then he starts to walk around the house, and I do, and I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. So anyway, he walks up to me and he puts the knife to my throat. Now, I don't have dreams like that where people are actually threatening you. Never had a dream like that before. So that was one reason of why I felt like this is not a dream normally I have, so I decided to share it. But anyway, he's got the knife at my throat, and I'm like, what is this, you know? First thing you think of, he's going to rob you. He didn't. It's sort of like he was saying, you know, I'm here, I'm your friend, I'm not going to hurt you, but yet he puts a knife to your throat, you know? And so then we converse with each other for a while, and then there's somebody else that shows up. And again, this person, he just comes in, you know, it's not like he knocks on your door or nothing, he just shows up, and we're both kind of sitting on the ground or on the floor together, this other guy. And he looks really, I mean, I have never met a person like that before. He had kind of scraggly, long, straight hair, and more or less it was like an off-white color. And we're talking, and this other guy shows up, and he's got regular haircut, short, blackish hair, and yeah, you get the impression at this point that it's sort of maybe you're a part of from some kind of a fraternity house, you know, like at a college or something, because the kind of things that we're talking about, sort of like things that kids or college students would do. And so anyway, this other guy who shows up, he hands me a bag of coffee. And I don't know if that was reference to the fact my mother always drank coffee herself, but I told the guy, I said, I don't drink coffee. So all these things make reference to something that possibly is going to happen in the future to me. Maybe I'll meet these two people. I have had clairvoyance stories in the past that I've shared on YouTube of things that I've seen in my dreams. Later on, they actually happened, and I saw these places. And that's why here I'm having this dream today where some guy shows up, puts a knife to my throat, And that's totally uncharacteristic of any dream I've ever had. If I had a dream, it was like somebody was either taking you somewhere, or you're having some event where you're someplace you normally would never be. But nobody has ever threatened my life with a knife or anything else in my dreams, or like put a gun to your head or whatever. That's why I want to put this down on video today, because somehow or another this must be some significant fact in some future event. You know, something I'm going to see. Maybe I'll meet these two guys. I can't give you very much in terms of description of what they look like, except for the guy that had the longish kind of scraggly hair. It went down to about right here on his neck. And he kind of had some curl to the front of his hair, but this ain't nobody I've ever met. I've never met anybody even that looks like this person, nor the other guy either. But the significance is that he puts a knife to my throat. That's not something I've ever seen before. I've never dreamed anything like that, where somebody would actually threaten your life. So what is my interpretation of it? Again, I say it's probably going to be somebody I'll meet at some future time, but I don't know what's the significance of the things that I saw. First, you're a security guard at some department store. I don't know if that means that it relates to how our country is going down the toilet. We're becoming the North American Union. Maybe if you go any place, they'll always be monitoring you or watching you. Of course, they're doing that already, but I mean, your impression is that everybody is always they're observed, and everybody is very suspicious of each other. That was kind of like why when you see this kid going through an area that's off limits and then shows up at a door where it's obviously not something that they should have known was opened, and then you go out there running after this individual and he's not there. So I can't interpret what that might mean, except that maybe at that point in time, maybe the rapture happened and this kid disappeared because you know, maybe he was a saved individual and God raptured him out. I don't know that, but I'm just saying I can't interpret sometimes these dreams, but other times it's like this is bizarre for me to think of these things or have my subconscious mind bring them up. You know, it didn't make sense. That's why I decided to do the video. But it was bizarre and weird. And like I say, I've done other videos in the past where I've had these kinds of dreams, and it just kind of compelled me to say I should put this down so sometime I can figure it out if I go back and watch it again. But they never gave their names, and the fact they show up and they're able to come right into your house without you asking who is it, you know, are you going to come, you know, they'll ask you, can I come in and talk with you, whatever. This guy just shows up, you know. That didn't make sense either. Then the other dude shows up, so maybe it was a maternity or fraternity house, you know. Those kinds of kids show up, and you know, you've heard these cases of hazing where they force these kids that join the fraternity house to do all kinds of crazy things, and if you don't do it, then you can't get into this group. And a lot of kids are dying because they force them to do things that are really dangerous, like drinking a whole bottle of vodka or doing some crazy thing that more or less jeopardizes your life. And in their minds, they think, well, you're a subordinate to me, so I can do whatever I want to if you want to be a part of our fraternity board or fraternity house. So that's kind of the impression of the second part of the dream, was that you're there and some two kids or two guys show up and they start doing these bizarre things, and I don't know. I've never been in college, so I can't say that that's how they do it, but I know the television reports you see on the news of these kids that end up dead because they felt like they had to belong to that fraternity house. It didn't matter what they had to do. And that's the craziness of this world. People are doing anything they have to do to feel like they belong to something. So thanks for watching the video. I hope it might make you think about, maybe you've had something similar like that, but I know I've never had some guy show up with a knife at my throat. Never had a dream like that before.
شوفوا أمي وأخواتي.
يلا لغ بيطلعوا.
أربعة.